Brahma Gururvishnu Gururevo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So, Yoga Sutra, we have understood what it means by Sutra. Sutra is like a zip file, and we have to open the zip file to understand the knowledge hidden in each sutra. Very good, relaxing voice. So every master, the authentic master, talks about that if we understand the first chapter, that is on Samadhi Pada, the moment we understand the first chapter clearly, the entire yoga philosophy and its practice is clear to us. So as we understand that in every text of Eastern wisdom, there is a specific mantra. Yes, Kate.
I just wonder if everybody will mute their microphones besides you.
Oh, thank you. I was. So, the first 4 sutras of the first chapter is everything about yoga. If we understand it clearly. So you see that I gave a title to the first 4 sutra. What self-discovery means? It answers what is meditative and non-meditative state. It answers and what exactly is yoga and its goal. So it answers in the first 4 sutras. So those who have attended the first 2 sessions on Yoga Sutra will be clear. Oh, so Brandy, you also have a cat. Good. Not only Alexia. So you love your cat? Very good. Very good. So now see that first sutra says Ath Yoga Anushashanam. Simple translation. Now discipline of yoga begins. Normal translation, we say Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Empty the mind of its content. Normally, sometime we translate, no. We have to say control the mind. No, here control is not there. We will understand that. So once we empty the mind of its content, then what happens? The knowledge of the real self is revealed. Tada drashtu sarupe avasthanam. But if the knowledge of the real self is not revealed, then what happens? And that is explained in the 4th sutra. It means that then we continue to live in stress and suffering. That is the applied meaning, applied wisdom. So it gives you everything about yoga. So we will also understand that the first chapter is meant for the highest level of seeker. Those who are highest seeker means Who are the highest seeker? Who have Shraddha, Viryam, Smriti. That comes later in the first chapter. Shraddha, Viryam, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Itaresham. That is what we covered in the Mondays and Thursdays session. Shraddha, the faith. Energy as enthusiasm, that means sincerity and commitment. And right memory and regular practice with the wisdom. Plus, they live in discernment and dispassion. So they continue to live in these 5 attributes, and that is 100%. Every attribute is 100%. Then you are a highest level of a seeker. And when you are a highest level of a seeker, you follow the first chapter, you get everything. You reach to that state. Second level of a seeker, not very intense, not very committed. So in the second chapter, we see what we see. We see Kriya Yoga. There are 3 parts of it. Kriya Yoga. Tapah Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. But well, if you say, okay, you are learning yoga, so, and then your mind is distracted, you feel sometime you don't like yoga, sometime you like, then follow the 8-fold path of yoga. I am not saying. It is the masters. Every master is saying. That is what we are going to understand in the first 4 sutra. First 4 sutra may take little time, provided you pay little, not total attention, then you will understand. So the second level of the seeker, cat lovers, no. Cat lovers, even they don't fall into the first or the second, even third level or fourth level. Why? I will answer that later. We have all human beings around. I am not criticizing. I am not going against lovers for cat and dog. And I have a wonderful student in Mesa, and she has, I think, 6-7 cases. So 3 are full of fishes, and another 3 are full of alligator, different species of alligator. I said, okay. And then I used to see her face when she says, I love. I said, okay. Here is the beer guy, nobody loves that. So it's okay. We have to carefully study this according to the commentary by the Vyasa. There is one commentary by the Vyasa, other commentary by the Vachaspati Mishra, and third commentary is by the Vijnana Bhikshu. These are the 3 great masters. They gave commentary on the Yoga Sutra. You see, I have been telling you H2SO4, those who have studied chemistry, they know what it means. But it is totally foreign word for you. What is H2SO4? I studied chemistry, so it is sulfuric acid, 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of sulfur, 4 atoms of oxygen makes, and there is something, if I remember, covalent bonding. You see that? I can go on. The same way we have to open the zip file based on the commentary given by the Vyasa. Then only we understand what exactly is yoga. I know what is yoga. Yoga is the union of body, mind, and the soul. Very good. Majority of you say that? Body, mind, and the soul. Tell me, are the body, mind, soul not united so that you are going to unite them? We don't ask questions. We don't want to be clear. Oh no, yoga I know, body, mind and the soul. Unite body, mind and the soul. So are they not united? If they are not united, we should be in Arlington Cemetery. Understand, ask questions, be very clear about it. If we are not clear, then it does not make a sense. So now see, ath. So there are 4 words. Can you recite? Ath, yog, anu, sashanam. Ath. Those who are lovers of other things, they cannot chant. So you have to love this. Ath, yog, anu. Anu is the 3rd word. Shashanam. Now, ath yog, anushashanam. Ath yog, anushashanam. So, ath yog, anushashanam. So, can you say it a couple of times? Ath yog, anushashanam. So, let me put it, I'm just on the verge of finalizing this book. Ath yog, anushashanam. Can you say that? No, if you remember my name and if you can say my name, so you may remember. So that is why we are reciting Ath Yog Anushashanam. Ath Yog Anushashanam. Done. So now we go to the commentary. So what is our commentary? Yoga is a discipline. Yoga is this union of body, mind and soul. These are our own made definitions. Our own created. Maybe we are more intelligent than Patanjali and these commentators. So that is why we have these. Eastern wisdom is the knowledge has to be learned from the tradition. What is the meaning of tradition? The meaning of the tradition, that the knowledge is being passed on. No, because now we are living in 21st century, so we should change the definition. It will not change. Definition will not change. Expression will change. Majority are women except me and the John. Can you change the definition of a woman? Why? This is 21st century. Anushashanam, that is the meaning of Anushashanam. Anu means that follows. Follows from where? From the past, from the teachings of the master. Anu. Anu means to follow. And Sashana means discipline, education, knowledge. That is one literal meaning. We can start from there. So what is that? Yoga is a discipline and education from A to Z. To qualified seekers. At means here, to qualified seekers. So if we are a qualified seeker, the first chapter gives everything. That is why it is known as Samadhi Pada. What is Samadhi? That is we are going to understand in detail. Samadhi, literal meaning, highest state of meditation. Highest state of meditation. So when we go into the 3rd chapter, so it explains what is the beginning of meditation. Deshabandhasya chitasya dharana. What is the 2nd stage of meditation? Tatra pratek tanata dhyanam. What is the 3rd stage of meditation? Tatra abhas nirvasam swarup sunyamiva samadhi. So that is the 3rd stage. So that is what the Samadhi Pada is here. So every sutra is related. Every chapter is related in a different sense. Now application part we have to understand. what Vyasa commentary says, and then I will explain in detail the commentary by the Vyasa. That will make us understand the first sutra. The Vyasa says yoga is samadhi. What we say yoga is? We say yoga is the union of body, mind and soul. What Vyasa says? He says yoga samadhi. Uses a specific word. Yoga samadhi means, what is that samadhi? So what happens in samadhi? The knowledge of the reality is revealed. That is yoga. So yoga samadhi. Samadhi, knowledge of the reality. What is that knowledge of the reality? That I am of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love and wisdom. That knowledge is revealed, which is known as samadhi. So, what is yoga? Yoga is yoga samadhi. Don't you want to live in permanent peace, happiness, love and wisdom? That is the goal of yoga. And that is yoga. Yoga samadhi. This is the first wonderful statement. No, I don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Why? Because I have my own interpretation of yoga. So give your own interpretation of science. Then look at those scientists. What they will tell you. No, we must require the knowledge. You see that? It will blow your mind if you understand what is the commentary by the Vyasa. So first he says, yoga is the highest state of meditation. Or you can say yoga is mindfulness. This is what he says. And what Jack Ray has. So yoga is, this is what, some people, when I start saying in New Jersey, so 50% of the teachers, they left. This guy crazy, he doesn't know anything. Yoga is the union of body, mind and the soul. The existence is already united, body, mind and the soul, and we have to enter into that. So wherever the human being enters, the human race enters with its own intelligence, you see that a lot of problem comes. Climate, air pollution. So yoga samadhi. Now, I'm just giving a reference. Then what Vyasa says? That samadhi or meditation is the characteristic of the mind pervading in all its states. He makes a second beautiful statement. What it means? That it is the characteristic. What is the characteristic? The mindfulness or a meditative state is the characteristic of the mind pervading in all its states. What does it mean? All the states? All the states of the mind. So now the next question comes, what are the different states of the mind? Do you see? Are you getting it? You all are teachers, so it's not a big deal that you cannot understand. Alex? So what he says first he says yoga samadhi. Yoga is the highest mindfulness state or meditative state. I will also talk about what is the difference and similarity between mindfulness and meditation. We have lot of confusion. But understand, mindfulness and meditation both are essentially one. So now see, I am making a statement based on Vyasa. Yoga is mindfulness. Mindfulness is a characteristic of mind. Clear? And now mind lives in different states. Mind lives in different subjective states. So what are these subjective states? Now comes Leslie for everyone. What is that? What are those 5 subjective states? These subjective states are crazy mind, lazy mind, obsessed mind, and one-pointedness mind, and empty mind. I'm opening the sutra slowly so that then I will give the specific name given by our master, Vyasa, Vachaspati, and Vijnana Bhikshu. These are the three masters. What is that? There are 5 subjective states of the mind. I'm summarizing the first sutra and then we will start opening. It will blow your mind once you understand, based on the teaching, that only first sutra gives you the entire life sketch, the way we work and behave and act, where comes the stress and how to achieve that. This is what Vyasa explains. So, are you getting it? Yoga is mindfulness. Mindfulness is a characteristic of the mind. Now the mind lives in 5 subjective states. So, is mindfulness lives in all the 5 subjective states or not? That comes the next question. You see that? Do you understand that? Step by step, logical fashion. Now, is Arizona USA? Tell me. Yes. Is USA Arizona? Now take up that sutra. Are the 5 states mindfulness? Or are the 2 states that helps us to reach to mindfulness? Keep that example in mind. Arizona is USA, definitely. Is USA Arizona? No. No. Because USA consists of 50 states and some federally controlled areas, right? So there are 5 states. Can crazy mind be yoga? No. Mind lives in 5 subjective states. No. Can lazy mind be mindfulness? No. Can obsessed mind be? No. So these are the 3 subjective states. Then 4th subjective state is one-pointedness. Understand, for the time being, it is one-pointedness. So one-pointedness, yoga, yes. Empty mind, yoga, yes. We got it. That is what Patanjali is saying. Athi yoga anushashanam. Yoga samadhi. Yoga is mindfulness. Mindfulness is characteristic of mind. But the mind lives in 5 subjective states. These subjective states are known as chipta, mudha, vikshipta, ekagra, niruddha. Five subjective. Did you understand that? Always remember, is Arizona USA or second option is USA Arizona. So that USA is, that means that it contains 5 subjective states. Out of the 5 subjective states, if the mind lives in the last 2 subjective states, then only you can achieve success in yoga. Otherwise, there is no yoga. Forget about yoga. Then otherwise, forget about doing yoga. Your mind is living in other 3 subjective states, and then you are doing yoga. Yoga will not bring the result. That is why yoga does not bring result. So I will just copy and paste for you so that you keep that as it is. This is what Vyasa says. Now see, So there are last two states means ekagra, one-pointedness. And the fifth state is emptiness. So fourth state of the mind gives four higher stages of meditation. And the fifth state leads to the highest state of meditation, that is known as samadhi. This is what our master is explaining. So this is in brief the summary of what Vyasa, Vachaspati and our great master Vijnana Bhikshu, the three great commentators, talk about it. So this is what the summary is. Now we will go a little deeper. Now if you say that yoga is a union of body, mind and soul, you should question. If it is a union, is the body, mind, soul not united, so I have to unite it? Do I know what is soul?
I didn't understand that.
No, you need not to understand, So you see that? I have to question it. So if I don't question, I don't get a knowledge. Do you understand the 3 steps of learning process? I do not know, let me know it. I do not understand, let me understand it. I do not experience, let me practice it. Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. So now let us go a little deeper. So we are unzipping the file. So the mind lives in 5 subjective states. Cat comes when I am talking to you. Your mind says, I love my cat. Can that state of the mind learn and acquire knowledge? No, yes, it is possible. So see that? Mind is already divided, distracted. This is the first state of the mind, wandering mind. We will understand. That is known as Chipta. Then the second state of the mind is known as foolishness, Moodha. I have already written. Third state of the mind is known as occasionally steady, Vikshipta. You are sitting in meditation, I say, close your eyes and become aware of the body, and the mind becomes aware of the cat. That is distracted. And that is the third state of the mind. Now, I'm just explaining in a day-to-day life. Because if I don't explain from the day-to-day life example, so I'm not averse to cat. I also love cat. So I love everyone. So understand that? So that is the third. So mind is there. And now fourth state of the mind, I say close your eyes, be aware of the body, and the mind continues. It translates every instruction 100%. Yes, I am aware of the body, I feel the sensation. And then look inside. So mind is one-pointedness, means one-pointed, ekagra. Ekagra, it is known in Sanskrit, ekagra. Ek means one. Agra means front. The mind follows that one. It is not concentration. We will understand that. The mind that follows one. What is that? One word at a time. One sentence at a time. Then where is the problem? And the fifth one is known as emptiness. Empty state of the mind. So the mind has 5 subjective states of the mind. Crazy one, first state. Lazy one, second state. Third one is obsessed. I normally translate so that it becomes easy for you to understand. And the fourth and the fifth one. Only the fourth and the fifth one, when the mind lives in the fourth and the fifth state, then only the yoga takes place. In the first three states, yoga will never take place. Now ask yourself, whenever you start studying yoga, which state of the mind is present? That is why I gave an example of a cat. You are listening to the teacher. Suddenly the cat comes. Oh yes, my honey, where are you? Ask yourself, what is that state of the mind? What are you doing? I told you that I love all cats and dogs. I love every human being. But I have to be aware of my state of the mind. Are you getting it? That is more important. Are you getting it? So, yoga can only take place in the fourth and the fifth states of the mind. Am I saying no? Why should I say? Vyasa says. Why should I say? So it means, what is the process of yoga? Mind lives in 5 subjective states. If I minimize the occurrence of the first 3 states of the mind in my day-to-day life, I am on the path of yoga. Are you getting it? Subjective states of the mind. Yoga begins when we start observing our life in the mind, understands the variety of thought pattern and how they influence the mind and my life. There are 2 aspects of the mind. Mind is upset or happy, that is subjective. And the mind has many thoughts, that is objective. What is this subjective and objective? Have you ever experienced that you say, I'm upset? That is your subjective state of the mind. And that being upset is the second subjective state of the mind, moodha. There are 2 things. What is that? One is the thought pattern. You have millions of the thoughts. And other is in what state the mind is living. Your mind is upset and you are listening to me. What will happen? There are 2 things. Yeah? Do you understand? There is the objective side of the mind. There is a subjective state of the mind. Huh? Hey Lara, just, come on. No, my mood is upset. I'm not interested. Now see, there are 2 things. One is the thought and other is my mood is upset. So if my mind is crazy, that is my subjective state of the mind. In that craziness of the mind, even if you learn the best and the highest, you will not receive it. It will not give you the right understanding. Are you getting it? Day-to-day life. In day-to-day life. So the 5 objective states of the mind that we are going to study later, that is already explained by the Patanjali. So here these are the fitting. When the seeker purifies the mind, his mind is dominated with the 4th and the 5th subjective state of the mind. That means I should learn and understand how to remain one-pointed, and how to keep the mind empty 24/7. It's not that I close my eyes and I emptied the mind and then I return. I gave you an example of that beautiful woman of New Jersey who had a couple of cups of coffee, then went outside the patio, have 2 fag, and then she said, now teach me meditation. Not possible. The 4th subjective state of the mind leads to 4 stages of meditation. if I continue to live in the fourth subjective state of the mind, meditation and mindfulness becomes a play and a fun for me. Am I saying it? No. Vyasa is saying it. The fourth state of the mind leads to sampragyat samadhi. And the fifth state of the mind leads to final journey, nirvikalpa or sampragyat samadhi. So now we should remove couple of wrong notions. What are the wrong notions? I can understand you have been teaching yoga, so you have wrong notion. And when the wrong notions get strengthened too much, then we don't want to listen to these teachings. So I have seen almost modern authors where they translate the first sutra as now yoga is being explained. No problem with that. Now an exposition or instruction or teaching of yoga begins. Now somebody explains, now concentration is explained. It has nothing to do with concentration. It has more to do with understanding. Ath, the word, first word, ath. Ath has multiple meaning. So we have to find out which meaning fits here. The word ath means you. Ath means now. It means here and now. It also means to know and aspire and practice. It also means beginning to an end. It also means know everything of an event or a knowledge. Lot of meanings. The word conveys that we should acquire knowledge, learn and contemplate, listen and understand. So here it means ath. Ath means now if say you are before the Patanjali, so Patanjali looks at you. Are you a seeker? Yes. 100% seeker? Then he uses the word ath yoga anushashanam. Because now you are a seeker, I am going to teach the discipline of yoga. First understanding. So why there is a word anushashanam? Anu means to follow. Follow from where? From the past. So what happened in the past? Past there is a knowledge already existing. So what Patanjali is explaining? First you should understand that I am not the originator of yoga. I am the codifier of yoga. Anushashanam. See, ath yog anushashanam. With all the humility, he says, what has been passed on to me, and that is what I am teaching to you. You will find in every teaching of every master a sense of humility. That knowledge being passed on to me, I understood, I practiced, that is a discipline. And anu means I follow the same discipline. So he is making it clear that I am not the best-selling author of the book. I am passing on this knowledge. That is the beauty. Now we go little deeper. Well, deeper. So, for the sake of academic and intellectual understanding, you should understand the 5 subjective states of the mind. What I'm saying? So what are these 5 subjective states of the mind? Chipta. It is known as chipta. Chipta. We will understand the meaning of these words so that the mental state will be clear. Chipta, mudha, vikchipta, ekagra, niruddha. So you have the 5 words. If you are getting bored by listening, you are in a mudha state. Don't tell me that you are get bored. So mudha means sense of forgetfulness. And if your mind is going to the cat and the dog and different things, it is wandering, so that you are in the first state of the mind, wandering mind. And you listen to me half, and half you listen to your mind. That is the third state of the mind. So then come to the fourth. You are paying attention. You grasp it. You understand it clearly. Mind is enjoying. You are in the fourth state. And the fifth state is Yes, Christina.
So I just wanted to clarify, maybe, and this will help anyone else if they were thinking this. So when I'm home and I have family around, so maybe some people have children or loved ones, how can I keep myself in meditation without feeling and like letting them know, like, you know, so it's like if the cat comes, you don't want, I feel like maybe Brandy doesn't want them to feel like the cat's
Yeah.
So maybe, is there a little something that you think?
Yeah. I answered clearly that out of the 5 subjective states of the mind, if we minimize the occurrence of the first 3 states of the mind, we can live anywhere, everywhere, without getting agitated and upset. So that is what we are. That is why we are understanding every state of the mind clearly. And then we will come to what practices we should employ in order to live into that state. Yes, I'm answering that question step by step. So now say that. Now ask yourself, mind is not me. Mind is the instrument. I own that instrument. I own that instrument. That is how the Vyasa explains. What? He explains that mind is an instrument, mind is an inner instrument. So if watch is an instrument, if the smartphone is an instrument, then I know how to handle this instrument. Even in the store, even in the family, where people are just making a noise, I know how to handle that instrument. So that is the simple answer, but we are coming. So, clear? Now going little deeper. First 10 sutras, if you understand it clearly, I'll spend little more time based on the teachings of this Vyasa. It opens the entire life. Oh, this is what I'm living. Why I'm living like this? It gives you a total clarity. Now come to the understanding by the Vyasa. Vyasa says yoga samadhi. Yoga is mindfulness or meditation. I am not saying. John, I am not saying. Master is saying. Yoga samadhi. Yoga samadhi means yoga is the highest state of mindfulness or meditation. Popular definition of yoga is this: a union between individual and supreme consciousness. So once we teach or once we understand the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it has nothing to do with the union. We will take that union later. So when you are teaching, educating, learning, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he doesn't talk about union. Vyasa asks, union takes place only when the two things are separate. Is body and soul separate now? No, it is not separate. Are individual and supreme consciousness separate to be united? Just ask yourself before you say yoga is a union of body, mind and soul. Are they separate? If they are not separate, then if they are separate, you cannot do anything. And if they are united, you cannot do anything. Ask yourself. And if you can really do anything about this, then the entire world will change. So don't live with the wrong notion. Are you getting it? Maybe a state of the mind gives the knowledge that there are two things, and these two things are separate. It is a part of ignorance. So once I remove the ignorance, I know they are not separate. That is why we practice mindfulness. Vyasa says, mind due to wrong perception, two things are projected and known as separate, but they are not separate. Clear? Getting clear. Samadhi, yoga, samadhi. Let me give you the way my master used to explain. It is also explained here by the Vyasa. For everything we are looking for abundance in quality and abundance in quantity. So one master explains the highest meditation and mindfulness is abundance of quality and quantity of the mind. Now see, abundance, infinite, quality of the kindness and the compassion and the love and the wisdom. See that? So that becomes the quality. And what about the quantity of the mind? My thoughts, my feeling, my emotions. That too is an abundance in quantity. So those thoughts which give abundance in quantity, and my feeling, my emotion, my subjective, like kindness, compassion, that is also in abundance. What is that state of the mind? Highest state of meditation. So you see all these great teachers, they are full of compassion, kindness. They rebuke you also if you follow the wrong path. But that is also out of compassion. My master used to say, get out of my monastery. But I knew. So I used to go out. I said, I will follow your order. And main door, I used to sleep there. I'm not going anywhere. I know I did some mistake. That's why you are saying me. I know your compassion and love. And then Master used to say in the midnight, no, call that guy. He is not going to leave. Now I feel too much, he's going to bring him inside. Tell him inside. That's another, part of this abundance of quality and abundance of quantity. Think over it. Think over it again and again. So that is one way to understand. The word samadhi. Samadhi has 3 roots. If you want to teach everyone, take this, remember this, and contemplate and reflect on this first. I'm sending this file from my draft book. The word samadhi has 3 roots. Sam, a, dha. The meaning of sam is samyak, abundance in quality. The meaning of a is quantity. And the meaning of dha is holding on. You hold on into your mind all the time. Did I answer, Christina, your question? I'm holding on into my mind. Abundance of quality and quantity. Amid group, mob, good, bad people, friends and strangers. I'm holding on this. So what happens? I'm already living in mindfulness and meditation. Nothing happens to me. Nothing happens to me. But that's a journey. We have to reach to the highest state. That is what Master is saying. Yoga Samadhi. Did you get it? What is the subjective state of the mind you are in? Crazy, lazy, obsessed, one-pointedness. Accordingly, you will understand. So that's why you see that every teachers of the Eastern wisdom are always relaxed and calm. They need. It is you who has to understand. Why should I worry? And that depends on your subjective state of the mind. Your mind is internally objecting to it, so that is your problem. So if you live in abundance of quality and the quantity, you see, you are going there. A qualified seeker succeeds in mindfulness or meditation. That is what Patanjali is saying by using the word atha. Again, I am repeating it. You see, a qualified seeker. And we covered how to become a qualified seeker in the Upanishad text yesterday. All those 9 primary practices, viveka, vairagya, 6 inner treasures. Come on, but he has not explained it. That is why it is a sutra. That is why we are learning Eastern wisdom. That is why we have 3,000 texts. That is why every teacher teaches differently. Why? Based on the temperament and the level of a student. So here the Patanjali is teaching to the highest level of a seeker who is already a seeker, who understands, who knows what it means. So when he is told Yoga Samadhi, it enters into the head, it drops down into the heart, and then he is ready to ask the next question, how to practice. But when you are not a seeker, it goes into your head with lot of opposing tendencies. Why? Because of the first 3 states of the mind. Lazy, crazy and obsessed. Are you getting it? First chapter of the Patanjali is only for the highest level of a seeker. After 6 years of austerity and a penance, Buddha, Alar Kalam, the great master, found Buddha and he taught mindfulness. So he was not ready. Simple. Patanjali is saying, are you ready? Clear? Now come to the next. Mindfulness succeeds, meditation succeeds, or you can say yoga succeeds only in 2 subjective states of the mind. The last one, ekagrata, one-pointedness and emptiness of the mind. So now go back to the Buddhism. Mind, emptiness, nothingness is mind. No. Yoga succeeds in 2 states of the mind. The last state is emptiness. Emptiness is not meditation. Are you getting it? Nothingness. No. You have to reach to that state. In meditation, the knowledge of the reality reveals. That makes you success. Are you clear? I remember there is one beautiful meaning of the Samadhi. Solution. Answer. Solution from suffering. Are you in meditation? You have a solution of all the sufferings. It will not touch you. Another answer. It just came to my mind. Kristen asked that question. The word Samadhi also means just a solution. Solution of what? Solution of the problem. Clear? Are you getting it? My master used to say, if you do not understand one, if the mind is objecting to it because you already have a previous knowledge which has heavily conditioned your mind, then it is better to go to the Ashtanga Yoga, start learning yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. Then the first chapter is not for you. Do you remember I told you, so there was a great musician who used to give lessons. So he has a big signboard. $100 per month for those who do not know anything about the music. And $100 per day, per session, for those who know a little about music. Because that master says it takes a lot of time to make you unlearn what you have already learned. That is why I have to charge more. So, that is the same thing with yoga. Now, with all due respect and love, they have contributed too much in our country. The different styles of yoga, Ashtanga, Nyasa, I don't even remember the name. Hot, cold, there is no cold yoga. So I had one thought last year that can I...
Goat.
Huh? You have
Goat yoga.
cold yoga?
Goat, G-O-A-T.
Oh, goat yoga. Okay, goat yoga is also started. Very good. The snake yoga will also start. So with all respect, we have to, they are styles of yoga. Let it remain there. But understand the very essence of yoga. So we have to break that dogma. Great revelation about the revelation. What is that revelation by the great commentator? He says mind lives in 5 subjective states. Just become aware from the day one. Once now you understand, now you know there are 5 subjective states of the mind. So just maintain your awareness day to day. You wake up in the morning, mind is upset, second state of the mind. Mind is wandering when you wake up. First settle the mind. Relax it. Bring it back to the one-pointedness. See, the life will change. I'm not saying start practicing meditation, focus on the breath. No. Recognize. Observe. Observe the instrument of your mind. That is why he says, in that context, if you translate the first sutra, now the discipline of yoga begins. Now means now, here and now. Oh, I have heard it. Now I am feeling lazy while listening to you, so I will take it later. What are you doing then? Are you studying yoga? Are you studying yoga? No. So there is a word used in our Eastern wisdom known as sadhana. Sadhana means practice. Now, it literally means practice in English. But the actual meaning of the sadhana is it has twofold activity. What is twofold activity? What is not desired, reject it. What is desired, work on it. What I desire? 4th state of the mind, one-pointed state of the mind. You wake up in the morning and become aware. You need not to worry, Leslie, what kind of thoughts are coming. You have to simply become aware. Is the mind one-pointed? What is my agenda today? What I have to do today? Simple. So now your mind does not recall this. It means mind is in a wandering state. That needs to be rejected. So what you do to be rejected? Your yoga starts. Let me remind myself. Bring mind, you are going somewhere else. Let me return. Can't you do it mentally? Are we not human beings? Don't we have our intellect to become aware? That is another essence for the highest level of the seekers. It took me a couple of years to reach to that state. Now we will understand Chipta. I am giving a different meaning, so you have to think of it. First state of the mind is known as Chipta. Chipta. Now understand. Monkey mind. Restless mind. So if you are restless, it is because of your mind, not because of you. Are you getting it? So why to worry? It is because of your watch, and it is because of your smartphone, it is because of your car. Don't get upset. It is your instrument. So instruments need maintenance, repair. So the first state of the mind is totally restless, unable to focus, jumping from one thought to the other, from one emotion to the next, from object to object. It moves between love and hate, likes and dislikes, expectations and disappointment. I hate that guy. Become aware. It is, oh my goodness, my mind is in that state. See that? It's totally a different perception in your life. Your life will change from today if you are really putting 100% into it. This is what Patanjali is saying. Take over the mind. Don't allow the mind to take over you. I hate you. I love you, honey. No, continue to say that. That's a good point, but internally check the state of your mind. Check the state of your mind. Alexandria is smiling. Your smile says, I'm understanding now. So some people, how they understand? Oh, now I understand my honey. He or he comes with this expression, never do this. You are taking care of you by yoga. Don't try to start understanding others. More you understand yourself, more you will be able to understand others. I told you, a couple of people come and join, and they say, sir, the one group of the people, they used to call me sir in India, sir, my wife did not come for this lesson. This lesson was meant for her. You crazy guy? Never do this. That is also the first state of the mind, the Chipta state of the mind. Can you become aware of those thoughts, Leslie? If these thoughts are coming, it means my mind is living in this state. And I have to reject this. This is a common state for most of us today. We alternate between the Chipta and the Mudha state. Mudha is the second state of the mind. So we will understand that. Chipta state means distracted. Should I work on this? No, I will talk about this later. That's another deeper aspect. Think of it and tell me that how this state of the mind can help you. And it is always helping you. Go a little deeper also. You see, that is the message given by the commentator and the Patanjali. How this state of the mind is a helper and how this state of the mind is a barrier. Think of it. And we will discuss about it. So I'm just, I don't want to burden your mind with, otherwise your mind will repel. This beard guy. Sometimes you may think, he has a beard, that's why he's talking, I know what yoga is. I'm not saying you don't know. But what I'm teaching is based on the teachings of our great masters. Now come to the second state of the mind. Mudha, dull, donkey mind. One is the monkey mind. and other is the donkey mind. The mind is dull, sleepy, lethargic, lacking vitality. When we are in such a mental state, we feel tired. So what means, Leslie? I'm just pointing everyone, not only. So if the mind says, I'm feeling tired, mind, I don't want you to say me that I'm tired. If you want to go on vacation, normally you are lethargic, sleepy. You have to board on a plane at 3 a.m. in the morning. I want to see whether you remain lethargic or not. You're going on a vacation, excitement. You don't sleep on that day. You remain totally active. Are you getting it? So why should I submit to the mind which says I'm lethargic, I'm feeling sleepy? Means what? I can change the state of the mind. Do you see that? Mudha. So we easily, in Mudha state, we normally blame and complain. Others also feel sleepy, lethargic, lacking vitality. Mudha is also known as sometimes infatuated. The infatuation. Why infatuation? Because there's a lot of things, to be understood. Tamsik guna takes over. In the first chapter, it is the Rajasic guna that takes over. Something is popping up in my mind. So it is also a state of forgetfulness, perplexed, confounded. That is why I say it is a lazy state. Did you get it? It is a state of the mind. Mind is your instrument. Are you getting it? Like a watch, like a smartphone. So, Christina, you may be in a mob, but tell the mind, I don't want you to live in the first two states. It will happen. I can guarantee you that it is going to happen. Your honey is angry. You want to be angry. Means what? You want to enter into the second state. Tell the mind, don't do this. He or she is harming himself or herself. Let me live into that state. It took me a couple of months, and once I did it, liberation. Third state of the mind. Third state of the mind is known as, it is almost, you can say, 50-50. Vikshipta mind, occasionally steady. I realize, I like that word. Somebody told me it's a butterfly mind. So I like that idea. It's a good way to present it. It's not my expression, but it says that it is even confused. 50% it is confused. Oh, this beer guy is telling something great. You listen to it. And the next moment you say, what he says. Leave it. Yeah, see, 50-50. So that is what happened. You see, in that case, confounded. It is. We commit to work hard towards, and then ultimately we leave it. We forget it. So the Sato Guna is little bit dominant, but then it is overpowered by Rajo. Again, Sato, Rajo, Sato, Rajo, Sato, Rajo. For the sake of understanding those who understand these two gunas. Now we come to what? You are naturally one-pointed. That is the fourth state of the mind. Naturally one-pointed. What it means? What it means? What is the meaning? Naturally one-pointed. When you drive your car, if you are naturally one-pointed, you have a smooth driving. You wake up in the morning, you are naturally one-pointed, you remember the agenda, you start working on yourself. You know how to live a balanced life. So you are conscious, mindful. Restroom, bath, there are a lot of 10 different activities that we need to do in the morning. That I will take up later. So then you know the agenda. Your mind reminds you. You write your agenda of the next day on the smartphone, and then you forget where you have kept the smartphone. So you also forget the agenda. That is not one-mindedness. I do write, but the moment I wake up in the morning, I know what I have to do. So naturally one-pointed mind, the mind retrieves that information. Why? Can you answer that? You are not living in the first 3 states. That is the simple answer. Are you getting it? It's a simple answer. So you minimize the occurrence of the first 3 states and everything happens by naturally. Are you getting it? Alex Moore? It happens naturally. Why should I worry about what is my agenda? I woke up at 4 to 6, I did everything of my meditation, sat it, and at 7, okay, mind said, okay, I have to do 2 hours, and then 1 hour, and then all the agenda are clear in the mind. So you are relaxed. Then you don't say that I am running all the time. When you are running all the time, you are living in the first state. And when you are running all the time, you will definitely enter into the second state, that is lazy, being tired and fatigued. And when you live in these 2 states, the third state also comes. So now one-pointedness, the 4th state of the mind, is also defined as the purity, clarity, organized life, right thinking, cheerfulness are the characteristics of one-pointed mind. So if you literally translate one-pointed mind into English, it means concentrated mind. That is wrong. That is a wrong interpretation. Do you see? That is what we talk about in yoga. So it means purity, clarity, life is organized, right thinking, cheerfulness. There is hardly any negative state. From where the negative states comes? From the first 3 states of the mind. What Patanjali says, I am teaching now, I am starting this journey of yoga to highest level of the seekers, who already know and understands what it means by the naturally one-pointed mind. See that? Now it aligns. Cheerfulness mind. The seeker treats the path easily in that state. Now coming to the final, the niruddha. Niruddha means objectless state of the mind. Don't say suppress, control. That's a wrong approach, wrong in English. Wrong translation in English. It is simply objectless state. What is objectless state? You don't have any object in the mind. What is that object? It may be a thought. That object may be your honey, maybe your enemy, maybe your friend. Are you understanding? If there is no objects, there is an objectless state. That objectless state gives you naturally peace. Where is the problem of anxiety, duality, conflict? Leslie, are you getting it? So our goal is not to, no, I'm tired, let me take a cup of coffee. Tired. Recognize what state of the mind it is. Donkey mind, monkey mind, butterfly. And take a corrective measure. No, I have to move into the 4th state of the mind. What is my agenda? Let me. Is my life organized? Everything is good? And you will see within few minutes that wandering state of the mind drops down. Do it. You will see the change. Almost 30 years back, I used to teach academically, and then I used to have a very big face on my face. See that I know. That is one way of teaching any subject. And gradually you evolve when you commit to yoga. And now it has become a play and a fun. I compare today's teaching with 30 years back. Is all the process of evolution that you undergo. But your commitment brings the result. Commitment to whom? Commitment to yourself. Yes, I'm giving this Vishnu Puran so you can even teach others. And that is, I found it. I have written it. This is, once you understand this, you understand the first sutra. What it says. Real knowledge is that knowledge by which you discover yourself. Other knowledge that you learn only for gaining the skill sets. Craftsmanship. Means what? You study yoga to know yourself, to discover yourself, to find the highest state of peace and happiness. Do you have that intent of learning yoga? Do you have that intent of, Yes, Jackie. Do you have any question? You raised your hand, yeah. First,
Yeah, I was wondering about. I was trying to read this because I see that you put it there, but with the niruddha, the objectiveness and the emptiness, and it's like you say it's like complete destruction. I was wondering, like, are you talking about of like the self? Is that what you mean?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. So like in the comment area, it says like disappearance, cessation, final truth, annihilation, complete destruction. And you mean complete destruction?
It is a mental state. So in deeper and higher meditation practice, when we reach to that state of emptiness, the real journey starts. What is the real journey? The knowledge of the reality is revealed in the mind. It is the beginning of another journey. So our life journey continues with all the crazy, lazy thoughts. So the Patanjali is saying, come down, reach to the fifth state of the mind, be there, live in there, wait, so the knowledge of the reality will be revealed. And when the knowledge of the reality revealed, it will transform your life. So in that context, we say, now this mind does not belong to the world. Mind belongs to only you. And who are you? You are your real self. That is the message. Good question. So if you see that, real knowledge is that helps you to study yourself, change your attitude and behavior and personality. It helps you to evolve. And what is the real knowledge? The real knowledge is of yoga. What is other knowledge? We learn driving. We learn how to work on the phone. We learn a lot of stuff. That gives you an expertise. But it does not help you to know yourself. My master said, never know only minimum about other people. Don't Don't ask, what are you doing, where are you doing, why are you doing, why you get married, why you are single. This is none of your business. Why? Mind is going outside. Know more about yourself. Do you find some people when you meet, oh, where are you going? It's okay. What are you doing? Oh, you are a yogi. You are taking coffee. Unwanted gossip. That is the first state of the mind. Do whatever you want to do. Incomplete knowledge is the first three subjective states of the mind. In the first three states of the mind, you cannot succeed in meditation. In meditation, the knowledge of the reality is revealed. That will not be revealed. So what did that mean? In the first three states of the mind, think of it. And the moment you feel tired, it is because of the second subjective state of the mind. So I have to work on it. I don't want to live into that state. How? That we are going to understand. So the ignorance and incomplete knowledge will be present in the first three states of the mind, and that becomes the cause of the suffering in life. Clear? Understood? You got it?
Yeah, I think if you're adjusting me, I think I got it a little bit better. And then I just wanted to ask about, when you say emptiness, does that mean presence? Like being fully present is practicing emptiness? Does that make sense? Or like practicing presence, you just naturally are empty?
It makes sense in our country. So you see that. You buy a house, you see the living room is totally empty. We are talking of that emptiness. And then, now because you have experienced emptiness, the first three subjective states of the mind is not working, and now you reorganize your house. You put the stuff. So that is what the emptiness here means. What happens? When all the thoughts pertaining to the world is not coming to the mind, that is what the emptiness is. Mind is totally withdrawn. The knowledge of the reality enters into the mind, and that knowledge is expressed in terms of the thought. Then we cannot say that then mind is not empty. No, we cannot say that. So that empty is, objectivity is to be lost. And that will come perhaps in the 5th and the 6th sutra. Patanjali will explain it. There are 5 types of thought pattern that needs to go out. That represents the emptiness outside. And that leads to the objectless state. And that objectless state is emptiness.
Got it. Okay. So, okay.
We will continue. Keep that question in your mind. So, let us pick up another sutra also. The next sutra. And next sutra is Yoga. Can you say that? Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. And it's a single Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. Yogaschitta-vratti nirodha. I have given the transliteration. And you see that what I said in defining that? Yoga is emptying the mind of its content. Huh? Jackie, your attention is also, little more attention is required. So one is I am upset. That is my subjective state of the mind. So that being upset has nothing to do with emptiness. So I am upset because you made me crazy. So you made me crazy is a thought. So you made me crazy is a thought need to be emptied so that the craziness will disappear. I enter into the state of emptiness. One example. So two part. Subjective states of the mind, objective states of the mind. How your mind perceives a particular thought, an event, and that is what I always cite an example. You see that soulmate is a word, objectivity, and after a few months, sourmate, that is also a thought. Dating, you don't date with the person you hate. Do you date with the person you hate? No. So what is that element which causes you to date? Liking, attachment. So what is that attachment? Attachment comes from the second state of the mind. Look at it. And can you live in peace and harmony and happiness with the second state of the mind? Not at all possible. Forget about it. I'm giving you some of the tips. So what should I do? Should I leave? So when that question comes, that thought comes, should I leave? It means this is also a thought. It needs to be dropped. Jackie, I'm answering your question in a different, practical way. So once I have left that thought, then I have to check which state of the mind I am living. I am living in the first three states of the mind. That is causing these thought patterns. So I enter into the fourth state of the mind. The knowledge is there. Now I have a clarity. Oh, because of the attachment, I was searching some honey. No, let me drop this attachment. So I drop this attachment. I enter into the one-pointedness, or you can say the empty state. Now that empty state reflecting the knowledge. Oh, I was crazy after you. That's why my mind. So, honey, let us sit and talk. You have a clarity. I'm giving you, I don't know who has a problem, but just I'm giving you a sense of understanding. This is what Patanjali is
I
saying.
definitely understood it better. So,
no, I'll give you hundreds of examples. That's what I have been doing. You see that? So now my mind is not going, blaming, complaining others because I'm not living in the first three states of the mind. How simple it is. So I enter into the fourth state of the mind. Purity of the mind is there, clarity is there, life is very well organized. And I know because I am expecting too much from you, that is causing the problem. That very expectation has reduced the joy in my life. And it comes from the first three states of the mind. Because there is no clarity about the goal of my life. So when I contemplate and reflect, my mind is free and clear. Oh, now I see. It is I am responsible for my sorrow and suffering. It is not the other one. I was blaming unnecessarily. You get that awareness, and in that awareness, you can solve the problem easily. of your day-to-day life. That is what Patanjali is talking about. So now coming, Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is emptying the mind of its content, leading to Samadhi. And what the Samadhi does? Knowledge of the reality dawns. And that helps you to transform your life. So let us understand now, go a little deeper. This sutra defines what is yoga. You see that? What is yoga? Empty the mind. So then he has kept something hiding. What is the hiding? That when you empty the mind, the knowledge of the reality will be revealed. That is why the sutra has to be compressed, zip file. Yoga is emptying the mind of its content, because Patanjali did not say empty all contents of the mind is yoga. A catch. Remember this. Another answer, Jackery. What? Patanjali says empty the mind of its content, but do not empty all the contents of the mind. It means there are some contents which are good for our life, which are good for our survival. Empty all the contents of the mind. So when the thought comes, I am hungry and I have to eat, empty that content. What is going to happen in few days? Are you getting it? You see? So he says, do not empty all the contents. Therefore, yoga or mindfulness state is realized with the contents in the mind, not completely empty. And mindfulness, the ultimate mindfulness, is also realized when the mind is completely empty. I am feeling hungry. You see that Alexandria is taking something. So she is feeling thirsty. So I need not to empty all the contents of the mind. There are contents of the mind which are used for survival. So during that state, you live in a different meditative state. But when you completely empty, now balanced life. Body, close your eyes. Steadiness is there. Calmness is there. Now you move the mind totally within objectless state to reach to the higher state. So it means there are two broader classifications. Right? The mental essence, which is indeed of the form of wisdom and illumination. Now another part comes. It is also quite interesting. Should I take it? Yeah. No, let me take it in a different way. This mind, we'll understand about the mind later. This mind lives in its nature is knowledge and happiness. Lest you will say, but nature of my mind is not knowledge and happiness. Example, Leslie. So the moment you say, you are living in the first three states of the mind. Are you getting it? By default. You know the meaning of by default? By default, this mind is knowledge and happiness. We have changed this default setting of the mind by being lazy, by being crazy, by living in ignorance, by living in the first three states of the mind. Are you getting it? Now understand, yoga is emptying the mind of its content. So what it means, what you need to do? What you need to do to find the natural state of the mind? Why Patanjali is saying yoga is emptying the contents of the mind? See that. Understand that. Yeah? Are you getting it? I'm invoking your intellect, triggering your intellect to think yourself. So yoga master is saying, empty the mind of its content. Please understand, by default, this mind is your helper. Don't make your enemy. See that? Don't make your enemy. You are responsible for making the mind your enemy. You are responsible for making this mind your friend. And the moment you make your mind friend, means mind naturally, by default, its inherent nature is to live in knowledge and happiness. But what we have done? We have superimposed on the mind the first three states that has changed our attitude, that has changed our behavior, that has led us to react, that has led us to have a lot of expectations from the world outside. That is why the Patanjali is saying, empty the mind of its content. He is not saying something special. Now you have understood all the principles. Now ask Patanjali, Patanjali, are you saying something special? No. But he is saying something extraordinary. We never realize and we never know that mind by nature is peace and happiness. By default nature. Are you getting it? So when I understand its default nature is peace and happiness, where is the problem? The problem is ignorance. Problem is incomplete knowledge. What is that incomplete knowledge? You are responsible for my problem. That is ignorance. One. No, I have a lot of feeling tired and crazy. Come on, become aware. Take care of the mind. Jackery, take care of the mind. And you see, this is what Patanjali is saying. This is what the commentator, the Vyasa, has explained. You wake up in the morning, no, I have a lot of problems in my life. Recognize, mind is taking over you. Take over the mind. Simple answer, but if I comment on this sutra, my explanation is, Patanjali in the second sutra is saying, mind is working on you, recognize it, and start working on the mind. Mind is working on us. When the mind is working on us, nobody can leave us, nobody can stop us being crazy, lazy, obsessed. No way. You cannot leave. And when you start working on the mind, this emptiness is a play and a fun. It's not a big deal. Then you deal with your crazy honey in peace and happiness. And those who deal, think and live and work. Now I'm just citing an example. Honey means cat also, honey means dog also, honey means real honey also, darling also, honey means smartphone also. Include everything. So what is the masses? Working on the mind, or the mind is working on us. For that I have to be aware. I have to live a life of self-awareness. So sometime I used to say self-awareness is the beginning of yoga and the self-awareness is the end of yoga. If you understand in a larger context. Jackery, are you getting it? So now see the thing. You need not to empty the mind. You need to work on the mind. Mind by default is knowledge and happiness. You have not to put sweetness in a sugar. Sweetness is sugar by default is sweet. So it means what has entered into the mind needs to be dropped. Unwanted, unnecessary, crazy stuff. What is that crazy stuff? Lara is crazy. Why should I say Lara is crazy? So I challenge my mind. You see, instant solution is there, but we don't want to go for it. That is why I say the first chapter teaches us the highest yoga. So yeah, I'm not going there. So I want to put it... So one thing you should understand, that all the contents of the mind need not to be emptied. Otherwise, how can I teach? I have to use the same thoughts. So now it is clear. So those thoughts that favors the natural state of the mind should remain in the mind, because they are not causing any problem to me. Whether I empty it or I need not to empty. You all are wonderful beings. Does it cause any problem to my mind? Now see that. See that. Now go back to Yama and Niyama. You all are wonderful human beings. Is this thought causing any problem? Now just wait a minute. I'll go restroom and come back. Does it cause any problem? No. No. But you are crazy. I hate you. I dislike you. I'm attached to you. Does these thought causes problem? Link it to the first three subjective states of the mind. Drop it. That is what Patanjali is saying. So, Jackery, it is not that you have to make an effort to make the mind empty. It is already there. You have to recognize what crazy stuff you have allowed in your mind to enter and live with it. Foreign elements have entered. Foreigners have invaded your mind. You have to simply drop that. This is a brief of what we are learning these sutras. So once we go and understand, then it becomes so simple. But we need to be committed. Pick up another question. Do you have that question in your mind, that why the mind is wandering and distracted? When I say the natural default mind is seeking knowledge and happiness, so this mind is seeking knowledge and happiness where it is not. That is why mind is wandering. I am dating, I love you, and then I get married, then I will be happy. A future project for my happiness, not here and now. The mind is living in ignorance. That is why mind is wandering. You cannot have a happiness 10 years after completing the project. That project may be dating and soulmate. No. Happiness is always in the present. So why the mind is wandering? Why the mind lives in three states? Because my mind is living in ignorance, in incomplete knowledge. That is why it is seeking, running after the object and the people, cat and the dog, for seeking happiness there. Huh? That I explained yesterday, Alexa. Do you remember? But your cat is beautiful, yeah. So, you see that? Why mind is wandering and distracted? Now, when I understand why my mind is wandering and distracted, reacting, when I really understand it, in the field of awareness, it drops by itself. Do I need to work hard to empty my mind? No. You don't say, I empty my house from the garbage. Mind is not there. In the garbage bin, you put all this stuff. And the time comes, you put that bin outside. And then you bring it inside. Do you think of it? So when I understand my 3 states of the mind is because of my mind lives in ignorance. It is living in incomplete knowledge. That is why it is running after the things and people and objects of the world. That causes the distraction. That fills the mind with lot of the thoughts. Do you agree? So now when I understand, mind is naturally empty. In that state, when you close your eyes, then the mindfulness becomes an effortless, natural process. Patanjali is teaching the higher yoga in the first chapter. I have to recheck whether I am there or not. Normally, for the sake of explanation, for the sake of understanding, not exactly. So I say, understand, for the sake of understanding, this mind is made up of 90% of satoguna, 7% of rajoguna, and 3% of tamoguna. What we have done? We have just reversed the position. Mind in our life is living 90% with rajoguna, all the time running even during the sleep. So you will have a sleep disturbances. Where is the problem? I made it. The mind is totally plastic. The way you mold the mind, it will follow. So just for the sake of understanding, 90% mind is sato guna by default, 7% for understanding. By default is rajoguna, 3% is tamoguna. What we have made? 90% rajoguna. That is one extreme. And if you make 90% tamoguna, then what happens? That is what is. Person is known as criminal. Living in crime, violence, reaction. You simply oppose the right knowledge. That is, you oppose the right knowledge. Who is responsible for it? You are. No one else. Why you live into that state? Why you don't allow the mind to live in a natural state? Are you getting it? Even while you are listening to me, your mind may be somewhere else. Oh, that guy, no, my honey. I can bet you. You might be thinking, you need not to tell me. Can that mind ever discover peace and happiness? Come on. Do any kind of meditation. What will happen? Nothing will happen. Yeah? So, understand, my friend, this is the journey of yoga when you learn it from the masters of. That is how I spent 26 years. Now, let's have a couple of questions before we give a break, and then we will go to Gita after half an hour. But first 10 minutes, let's understand. So we have almost covered the 2 sutras. Huh? Ath yoga anushashanam. Now see, become aware. I am a seeker. Purity of the mind, clarity is there. I know what is the goal, what will be the result. Patanjali is saying, asking those people, Ath yoga anushashanam. And then he blows our mind. Yogaschitta vratti nirodha. So, to that seeker, the master is saying, do you understand? Yoga is empty the mind of its content. Seeker says, I saw some glimpses of it. He doesn't say how to get rid of anxiety, sleepy, laziness, because he is the highest level of a seeker. Why he is the highest level of a seeker? He has the faith, Shraddha, that we have covered, the Shraddha, Viryam, energy. It is Patanjali Sutra. Shraddha, Viryam, Smriti, right memory, energy as enthusiasm. Don't be so serious. It's all a journey. Huh? Do you have any question? So first, at least, first 10 sutras, we should go in detail, 10 or 15. So you have a clarity of all the sutras in the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th chapter. That's why we are going deeper. We are spending little more time. Any question? Yoga Samadhi. So at Yoga Anushashanam, when Vyasa gives interpretation of the first sutra, then first he writes, it's a huge book. I think I have sent the PDF file of to. So if you go and study, it says Yoga Samadhi. So one definition, Samadhi means yoga is mindfulness or highest state of mindfulness. Yoga is not a union of body, mind and soul. So then the people will fight. Why they will fight? Okay, my body, your soul. Your soul, my body. It has nothing to do with yoga is body, mind and soul. They are already united. So now these popular notions are already very much present in our society. So don't start fighting with them. You see, a yoga teacher, yoga seeker, I also lived in for the last 15 years, in our such a country. Now this is my country, so I take it very easy. You are right. If you want to listen, then we talk about it. If you don't want to listen, you are right. Live in your own shell. You see that? Truth cannot be imposed. It should be revealed if the person is ready. If we are ready, then the truth can be revealed within me. But if you want to force the truth, it will never happen. Now see its application. Honey, I love you, you don't love me. So you are imposing the truth. It will never happen. You express love in your thought, in your speech, in your action. Everything will change. But what comes in between? The ego comes. How dare I do this? And Patanjali says ego is another klesha, suffering. We'll study that. Avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, pancha, klesha. Last thing. It's a beautiful simile and metaphor used. There is a baby cat and a monkey cat. Monkey, baby monkey. What baby monkey does? Baby monkey holds the monkey mother. So that baby monkey is on his own. He has to make an effort. See the example. It's a very famous example in our journey of Eastern wisdom. And the baby cat, he need not to worry. Mother cat holds the baby in her mouth, and that baby cat is totally free. So what is the message here? When you drop your mind completely without any reservation in your head to yoga, yoga will take care of you. Forget this. Yoga will take care of all the problems. Yoga becomes a mother. And we already know the relationship of the mother cat to the baby cat. Are we ready? That is the beginning of yoga. I should ask the question and I should remove the doubts. That is very important. But I should not hold on to any opinion that I have already learnt before. I should let it go. Make yoga your mother and become a baby. See what happens. I will see